If your seedlings keep dying and you're not sure why, let me explain a really common cause. And I know all about this because I did it myself last week. And I don't see many places online talking about it, so I'm going to go through it with you. Look, these are my Craspedia, and all but one have survived because of this issue. You might want to save this video for the next time you sow seeds. I'm Bridget Rose and I teach beginners how to grow cut flowers from my ordinary garden here in the UK. So let me tell you a story of the day I cooked my Craspedia. Now it's at the end of May here in the UK and we are in the middle of a heat wave, and all my seedlings have been outside, but one night I decided these Craspedia were looking a little bit vulnerable and I wanted to protect them from the slugs and the snails. So I took the tray, found a propagator lid, popped it on and hoped that the slugs and the snails wouldn't find their way in. I then put the seed tray in the greenhouse and forgot about them until 11 o'clock in the morning the following day, by which time I ran into the greenhouse and realised that these poor seedlings were cooking. So I think I possibly have cooked them. I can't believe they are looking as upright as they are. I probably got two that have survived out of all of them. So this morning I am going to sow my Craspedia again, but this time not in a seed module, but in a seed roll. So I'll show you how I do that. Now the trick with compost for a seed roll is that it has to be well moistened and also free draining. So what we're going to add to this is some perlite. Now perlite is a volcanic glass and there's a lot of dust that comes from this. So rather than to use it out of the bag, we're going to wet it first. So I've got my watering can and I am literally going to pour some in there. A bit more. Give it a mix. Now, when I use it, there'll be no dust. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3. Give it a mix, and I'm mixing it before I add the water. There we are. I think that's enough perlite, so now let me add the water. It's a bit like making a cake. So you add the water all in a cake, the egg, and then you have to work out the consistency. If it's too wet, add more compost, like you would add flour. And if it's too dry, add a bit more water. And the way to tell it's nicely mixed in is you take a handful, you squeeze it, and if water comes out of the bottom, then it's too wet. There's no water there. Open your hand, and if it holds its shape, that's perfect. But if I squeeze it and water comes out, I would have added a little bit more compost. So that is a lovely consistency ready for the seed roll. Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a seed snail from an old compost bag. Now I am growing flowers. If I were growing food, I might not be using plastic, but for flowers I'm very happy with it. And it also means I'm reusing plastic, saving it from landfill. So let me show you how I make them. So I fold up the bag using the creases as flat as I can make it. I'm going to just cut the top here. So a good depth for a seed roll is obviously dependent upon what you're growing, but because I'm growing cut flowers, I think about 15 centimetre or 6 inches is a really good depth. So that happens to be on that line, which is very handy. So I'm just going to cut along here. I'm going to just put my hand down just to keep it together. Could have done this on a table, probably would have been a bit easier. Ooh. Cut the end there, and then I just take the end here and cut. Now, dependent upon how many seeds you're sowing, this is probably plenty long enough, a perfect length for me. Now, the other thing I'm going to get ready, I've got my compost ready, I've got my seed roll ready, and now I just need to get some string. So there is my string ready. I'm going to move that to the side for a minute. And now let's get the compost piled onto the seed roll. Now, the one really great benefit to using seed rolls is the fact that the roots are encouraged to grow down, not round and round like you would get in a normal pot or a seed module. The roots go down in search of water. So you just produce much healthier plants as a result of that. Now, I am making this quite thick, probably around 1 inch, and I'm sort of pressing it down as I go because I want it to be a really good, firm foundation for these seeds. And I'm going to just keep pushing them up and working it like that. I think that's kind of nearly there. Pressing it down as I go. Now, people get a bit confused about seed rolls, such as the watering, and the watering is really clever. You water from underneath, and what happens is the compost and the roots wick up the water, and it's actually really good for root development because they have to grow downwards to search for the water. If you water from above, all you're doing is wetting the surface, not necessarily where the roots need it, down below the surface. It is a bit of a misnomer that people think that the top of plants need to be wet. They don't. And in fact, by watering underneath, you're preventing things like damping off, which is a fungus. And you're also preventing fungus gnats from laying in the compost. So they have a lot of benefits, seed rolls. Okay, this is take 2. I had actually rolled this, started sowing, and then realised I'd not been recording. So I've undone it. Here we go again. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to roll this up and tie it with string. Okay, starting at one end, obviously. And I haven't got any seeds in here. I'm just going to roll it, pull it, and keep rolling. Round and round. Now you'll notice I haven't got much at the end there. It generally tends to fall out right at the end anyway. So let's get the string on here now. So using one hand, lift it up and we'll get the string underneath. Now you can put your string already under the seed roll before you start rolling it. Now this table that I'm using is actually, this one here, the plastic one, is a grow bag tray. And you can get these from any garden centres in the UK. I don't know about abroad. I'm sure you have the equivalent there. Let's get the other one. Just keeps it secure. And using just a normal pot with holes in, I'm going to keep it in there to stand it up. And then when I want to water this, it's going to be watered from below. And what I'm going to do now is just push the compost down. Okay, let's just get some of that away. I'm going to need that in a second. So what I'm going to do, I've pushed down the compost. You can see there are quite a lot of gaps there. So what I'm going to do is use this compost that's fallen out. Just pop it on the top. Okay, this is Craspedia. And looking on the instructions, I have to sow it on the surface. Make sure that each seed comes in contact with the compost by just gently pushing it onto the surface. And then we're going to cover with a thin layer of vermiculite. And all vermiculite does is it just keeps the surface from drying out too much, because right now at the start our seeds do not want to dry out, otherwise they won't germinate. If they all germinate, I will just pull out some to thin them out. You don't want them competing on space. There we go, all the way around. I've got a lot of seedlings in this. Can you imagine what the equivalent would be in pots? Vermiculite is worth its weight in gold. I know I said that it's good for seedlings, for the surface to stay dry, but not while the seedlings are germinating. They need that little bit of moisture, little bit of humidity, not humility. That's good to go. Right, seeds are in, now we wait. But what I'm going to do is take the propagator lid again, close the vents at the top, pop it over the top. If you don't have a lid like this, use a little bit of cling film or cling wrap, I think you call it in the States, over the top loosely, but it has to create a bit of a humid environment in there for the seeds to germinate. Now these are going to go in my house now. Even though it's very warm outside, it's a consistent temperature in my house out of direct sunlight. So they will go there for a few days' time. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel below so you can find out what happens to them. See you in the next one.